Elon Musk is calling for the impeachment of a judge who is not only attempting to stop DOGE from rooting out corruption at federal agencies, but even went so far as to demand that Elon Musk and his team destroy evidence that they had been collecting at the Treasury Department. What the hell is happening here? Well, the battle, you see, to end corruption within the federal government is reaching a fevered pitch. And this particular fight at the Treasury Department holds massive ramifications depending on the outcome of this legal battle. The Treasury Department appears to be one of the major epicenters of waste, abuse, and corruption of billions upon billions of dollars of federal money, or if we're being more precise, our tax dollars, yours and mine, if you're a U.S. citizen, that is. For example, this was a post on X from Elon Musk done yesterday. To be clear, what the DOGE team and the U.S. Treasury have jointly agreed makes sense is the following. Require that all outgoing government payments have a payment categorization code, which is necessary in order to pass financial audits. This is frequently left blank, making audits almost impossible. Musk writes, all payments must also include a rationale for the payment in the comment field, which is currently left blank. Importantly, we are not yet applying any judgment to this rationale, but simply requiring that some attempt be made to explain the payment more than nothing. The do not pay list of entities known to be fraudulent or people who are dead or are more probable fronts for terrorist organizations or do not match congressional appropriations must actually be implemented and not ignored. Also, it can currently take up to a year to get on this list, which is far too long. This list should be updated at least weekly, if not daily. The above, Musk says, is super obvious, and necessary changes are being implemented by existing long-time career government employees, not anyone from DOGE. It is ridiculous that these changes didn't exist already. Yesterday, I was told that there are currently over $100 billion a year of entitlements payments to individuals with no social security number or even a temporary ID number. If accurate, this is extremely suspicious. When I asked if anyone at Treasury had a rough guess for what percentage of that number is unequivocal and obvious fraud, the consensus in the room was about half. So $50 billion a year or $1 billion a week. This is utterly insane and must be addressed immediately. And by the way, Elon Musk has gone so far as to suggest that the total waste and fraud could end up being as high as $1.7 trillion annually. An amount, by the way, that is nearly equivalent to the entire federal deficit. However, and as I alluded at the beginning of this video, the judicial system has been attempting to slow down or even outright sabotage Elon Musk's, and by extension Donald Trump's, agenda of eliminating government fraud, waste, and corruption. See, just a few days ago on February 6th, Judge Colleen Kolar-Kotelly issued a limited order restricting DOGE's access to Treasury systems. She did, though, allow two DOGE staffers, Tom Krause and Marco Iles, to have read-only access to certain Treasury payment systems, meaning that their work could continue pending a court hearing on the matter. But on February 8th, yesterday, a U.S. District Judge, Paul Engelmeyer, unhappy with the previous judge's ruling, stepped in and issued a much harsher preliminary injunction in response to a lawsuit filed by 19 state attorneys general. Now, Engelmeyer's ruling blocked all political appointees, special government employees, and employees detailed from external agencies from accessing Treasury Department records containing sensitive personal and financial information. And by the way, this includes Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent himself from accessing his own department's data. And Engelmeyer's ruling went beyond merely restricting access. It also mandated the immediate destruction of any copies of materials downloaded from Treasury Department systems since January 20th. Essentially, the judge here is trying to sabotage the work done by DOGE up until this point. Now, there is a hearing that is scheduled before Judge Jeanette Vargas on the 14th that will further discuss the Attorney General's motion for a preliminary injunction. But this still seems enormously problematic. And Musk was quick to condemn the ruling. He wrote on X that this ruling is absolutely insane. Yeah, how on earth are we supposed to stop fraud and waste of taxpayer money without looking at how money is spent? That is literally impossible. Something super shady is going to protect scammers. This whole ruling from the judge is out of order here. I mean, aside from essentially saying that the Treasury Secretary himself cannot access the data of the Treasury Department, which is insane and ludicrous. The idea that the judge is ordering the destruction of evidence is a huge, massive red flag. In fact, the only other time that I can remember a judge doing this, and I'm sure there are other examples out there, but the only time I can remember a judge doing this was the Jeffrey Epstein case, where the judge Loretta Preska back in July of 2020 ordered the destruction of evidence related to the Epstein case. This was part of a larger ruling in a defamation lawsuit involving Ghislaine Maxwell. And I had a problem with that then too. So to me, this feels like a bridge way too far. It is one thing to put a temporary restriction in place while you sort out a legal issue. It is quite another thing to potentially aid and abet corruption and fraud at a federal agency by ordering the destruction of data while the case is decided, not to mention usurping the authority of the administration. What crack is this judge smoking here? To me, it seems obvious that he's a political hack at best, or worse, there's something deeply corrupt going on here. I mean, when we take a look at this judge, not only did he issue his ruling the way he did, but the order was issued on a Friday night without giving the government to even have an opportunity to be heard. There was no due process. And to me, this clearly interferes with the executive branch's ability to manage its departments. This seems like a massive overstepping of judicial boundaries. Something isn't right about Judge Engelmeyer, and Elon Musk agrees. In fact, he is now calling on X for the judge to be impeached. This is a story from the New York Post, titled, this is by Ryan King, titled, Musk suggests federal judge who stymied DOGE should be impeached. Quote, a corrupt judge protecting corruption. Ryan writes, he doesn't want DOGE on a short leash. Space and electronic car magnate Elon Musk has suggested that judges who have thrown up roadblocks to his Department of Government Efficiency's crusade to trim bureaucracy should be impeached. Musk's ire against the judiciary comes after a New York-based judge temporarily restrained DOGE from accessing the Treasury Department's payment systems on Saturday and other legal setbacks in recent days. The world's richest man, Ryan continued, also declared it is time in response to an X post from user Insurrection Barbie, who asked about having a serious conversation about starting to impeach some of these judges. Musk further concurred with a post from Senator Mike Lee, representative Republican of Utah, who argued that this has the feel of a coup, not a military coup, but a judicial one. And Representative Darrell Issa from California announced plans to roll out legislation that would grant DOGE access to the Treasury Department. Now, Musk sees the Treasury data as paramount to his plans of auditing the federal government. That goes with a no duh, by the way. There have also been recent snags in court to initiatives from the Trump administration championed by DOGE to attack federal spending. For example, on Friday, U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols from the U.S. District Court of the District of Columbia, a Trump appointee, pumped the brakes on plans to place 2,200 employees at the U.S. Agency of International Development on administrative leave. And last week, another judge also halted the Trump administration's buyout offer to some 2.3 million employees who would have been allowed then to resign and receive pay through September. So without a doubt, the judicial system is the primary roadblock here for DOGE. And let's talk about the odds of impeachment. It should be worth noting that impeaching federal judges is rare in the United States. It requires a high threshold of misconduct to even occur. The Constitution states that judges shall hold their offices during good behavior, which has been interpreted to mean they can only be removed for serious misconduct. The grounds for impeachment typically include corruption, abuse of power, and serious ethical violations. Now, it seems clear to me that the judge is absolutely overstepping his authority, inserting himself into an ongoing case, a power move to further thwart his political enemies. And he is certainly overstepping his authority in telling the Treasury Secretary that he can't look at the Treasury Department's data. However, it is unlikely that this ruling alone would meet the threshold for an impeachment of the judge. It's not impossible, it just seems unlikely. Judges tend to have broad discretion in how they interpret the law and issue injunctions when they believe there is a risk of irreparable harm. However, the unusual circumstances of this ruling, including its timing, broad scope, and clear overstepping of their authority over the administration, if there was ever a time or place for political will to impeach a judge, this seems like that might be one of those times. Something tells me that the American people would overwhelmingly approve of the removal of this judge. Of course, only time will tell.